Welcome into another episode of the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast on Sports Illustrated from the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Tom Cavanaugh. You can follow me at TCAV30 on Twitter/X and follow our insider pages at Rams Insider on SI, both on Twitter/X and Facebook. Today we're going to be cleaning up the victory from Thursday night, Niners and Rams in Santa Clara. Huge road win for the Rams. They get it done 12-6. All they needed was 4 field goals. Their defense played well enough. We're just going to continue to just kind of break down a few things. And then we're also going to point to one thing within the 49er locker room that unfolded in the middle of the game, carried over post-game, and is really starting to stumble into quite the story about this Niner team that, you know, their season, not what they expected whatsoever. Went to a Super Bowl last year. They've been 3 times in the past 5 seasons, and they are pretty much out of the playoff race now after the loss on Thursday night. But we'll start with just kind of cleaning up what the Rams did yesterday, and got to give a lot of credit to a couple people. First being rookie kicker Joshua Carty. Coming into the game, he had missed 2 of his last 3 field goals. That was dating back to the Patriots game back in mid-November. He was 0 for 1 in that game. Followed that up with the Eagles with an 0 for 1 day, missing a 40-something yarder. And then against Buffalo, he hit one from inside of 30 yards. So he got back on the right track, but at the end of that game, missed an extra point. So Carty had been a little bit shaky coming into the contest just based on his recent success, and he was a stud on Thursday Night Football. I mean, all 4 times he had to step up and make a kick, he did it. And the biggest one was the first. Rams down 3-0 on their last drive of the half, needed some points before halftime, could not be shut out at halftime for the second time in the past 3 weeks. And Carty steps up and nails a 48-yard kick to tie it up, and then would hit 3 more in the second half, back-to-back kicks on back-to-back drives to switch the score from 6-3 Niners to 9-6 Rams, and then he would tack on one inside of 30 yards at the end of the game. It was a nice job by the Rams to get him a pretty good field position when kicking. 3 of his 4 kicks were inside of 30 yards. He had no problem with that, but Carty stepped up, really was the catalyst to victory, along with third-year running back Kyren Williams. He got the hard-nosed yards that the Rams needed deep in the game. You go back to that final drive they had when they were leading 9-6, coming off the interception that they were able to get on Brock Purdy. Williams, several carries of 5 to 6 yards, putting the head down, churning for first downs, keeping that clock rolling because, the Rams, they got the ball back with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left after the interception from Purdy. They had the ball on their own 25-yard line after the ball was intercepted in the end zone. They went right down the field, not for a touchdown, but they churned off 5 minutes of clock to get down into field goal range. And that's just, that's how you win football games. When you have a lead and you're able to just take a slow and meticulous drive down the field and really just work the defense how you want. Williams was a big part of that. He rushed for 108 yards on 29 carries, and he's continuing to play better and better every week. He had over 100 2 weeks ago. He had 80-some last week against the Buffalo Bills, and 108 his third game of 100 rushing yards or more. Kyren, when they needed him most, and if this team makes the playoffs, he's going to be relied on heavily. When they need him the most, he comes up in a huge, huge spot. So give him a lot of credit. Puka Nacua, once again, obviously, we said it yesterday, the team goes how Puka does, and it doesn't seem like he ever has a drop-off in a game. Even when, this felt like one of his more silent games, and he still had 7 catches for 97 yards, including a 40-yard bomb down the middle of the field to put them in field goal range that would ultimately tie the game in the third quarter. Overall, Puka's just, a top 5 receiver in the league. I'm going to continue to say it. And his impact on this team leads to wins. And when you have a guy like that on your team, it's invaluable. So looking around the NFC West here, both other teams, the Seahawks and Cardinals, they'll have to play on Sunday. Cardinals, they're sitting at 6-7 currently, and they got to match up with the New England Patriots at home. I would think that the Cardinals would win that game, but because of what the Rams were able to do on Thursday, they have a little bit of a cushion there. It would have been interesting. Let's say the Niners do win that ball game. Both the Niners and Rams would be 7-7, and then the Cardinals as well. If they were to beat the Pats, it'd be a 3-way tie for second place at 7-7 with just 3 games left to play. Thankfully, the Rams get it done, and they're just going to be waiting on that Seattle Seahawks Sunday night football game when Seattle takes on the Green Bay Packers. Seahawks are rolling right now. A little bit of a win streak they're on currently. They're the leaders in the division at 8-5, and a win from the Packers, who are coming off a rough loss to the Detroit Lions. They're in a get-right spot. The Packers can go into Lumen Field and win on the road. The Rams are going to have a really good chance to nab a playoff spot, and it's going to come down to the final weeks. You got next week for Los Angeles taking on the New York Jets. That's an extremely winnable game. And then you got the Cardinals in week 17. And then in week 18, you finish up with the Seahawks. And I'd like to bet that week 18 game, the winner of Seahawks and Rams, takes the NFC West division. Boy, would that be fun. Switching over now to talk a little bit about this Niners situation that was unfolding mid-game. Didn't really realize it until late last night into today. Devondre Campbell, a linebacker for this Niners team that has actually played a pretty good amount this year. We'll break down his stats in a second. He was asked in the middle of the third quarter to come in and fill the role of linebacker Dre Greenlaw. Now, Greenlaw had been out the past couple of games. He had dealt with injuries, and throughout the course of playing darn near every snap of the ball game, he got banged up. Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the Niners, along with the rest of that defensive staff, asked Campbell, hey, step in. Let's go. We need you for a few snaps. He refused to play, refused to get on the field. We told head coach Kyle Shanahan, who reported this to the media postgame, he just didn't want to play today. He walked off the field with a staff member. There's videos circulating around with him with a golden towel over his head down, walking into the locker room. And boy, did his teammates have something to say about that. Now, obviously, in an NFL locker room, you try to build camaraderie. It's a family in that locker room. But at times when you do something like that, you're going to hear it from your teammates because they expect you to go out there and fight alongside them every single snap. And that is not what Devondre Campbell was exemplifying yesterday. Looking at Campbell's stats, he's playing for his fourth team. He started his career in 2016 with the Falcons, then went to the Cardinals. A couple of years in Green Bay from 21 to 23, and this is his first year with the Niners. 79 total tackles on the season. He's got 9 stuff yards, 2 tackles for loss, a couple pass deflections. He gets a lot of time at that linebacker position. And for some reason yesterday, just decided, I'm not going to play today. Even though he was suited up and everything, players were questioning, why would you suit up? If you could have told the staff pregame that you were not playing and then you could save a roster spot for somebody else. Not sure what his reasoning was, but 2 guys really sounded off on that situation. First being all-pro tight end George Kittle. He was asked about the situation on the podium and said, I've never been around anybody that's ever done that, and I hope I'm never around anyone that does that again. I mean, that's a blunt response right there from a teammate. That's not from the other sideline, nothing like that. That's from your own locker room. And then Charvarius Ward, who's a starting secondary player, cornerback for this Niners team, he doubled down and said, that's some sucker stuff to me. Probably going to get cut soon. I mean, that's really, really pointing the finger at the guy and saying, hey, man, if you're not willing to fight for us, we're not willing to defend you in the locker room. See you later. Probably going to get cut soon that's a very glaring comment from a teammate to another. But I'm not going to act like it's not deserved. Devondre Campbell cannot do that. You can't suit up, act like you're going to play, and as soon as you get the nod to come in the ball game, I'm not playing today. Now, we're not going to speculate. There could be other outside, things that lead to that, but he wasn't on the injury list. Don't see why he would not play there. So very, very weird and interesting situation in the 49er camp. And it's just been a season from hell for them. I mean, seriously, they haven't stayed healthy. They've lost the games by 1 score that they had won in previous years. Just nothing has gone right for them this season. And it really was exemplified in this game when they needed a win to stay alive in the playoffs. They only were able to muster 6 points. Brock Purdy was not good. Isaac Guerrero, the rookie running back, he was okay at 50 yards, but the Rams did a really nice job defending him. Deebo Samuel was non-existent. I mean, it was really George Kittle and Juwan Jennings in the receiving game for San Francisco that did anything, and neither were able to really, put an exclamation mark on their performances. So tip your cap to the Rams defense. Rams offense did just enough to get in a field goal range for rookie Josh Carty to nail 4 field goals. And the Rams, they come out with a huge win and sit very nicely a half game back of first place. And they're going to kick back and relax and hope for that loss from the Seahawks to tie them up for first place. This has been the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast on Sports Illustrated. I'm your host, Tom Cavanaugh, your Los Angeles Rams insider. You can follow me at TCAP30 on Twitter/X and our insider pages at Rams Insider on SI. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you again tomorrow.